So we're doing another feature today, a feature on a tattoo artist, Brandon.
Feature.
Yeah, Brandon Herrera. It's one of Rick's favorite artists. I like this guy's work a lot too.
This is really cool.
I've known of this guy for a long time, so this might not be new to anyone else. Well, I'm sure it will be, because when I featured Masakrov, there was a lot of people who hadn't seen his work, and one guy who watches the show actually went and got tattooed 3 days in a row by him.
That's amazing.
He sent me the chest piece. It was a full cover-up with Masakrov's style. So we'll be talking more about that another time. But I do find that, there are quite a few people who haven't seen these artists that I feature. So, and the more exposure these guys can get, the better. Part of why I liked Masakrov so much at the time was because he does a lot of cover-ups, and so does Brandon Herrera. Now, some of these are obviously going to be negative space, but here you can see we have a sleeve that was all kinds of terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh, wicked.
Yeah, so some of this was doable in black and gray, and the portions of it that you needed to cover were done with opaques and color, but he was so seamless in his application of opaques that you can almost barely tell the difference.
Yeah.
It's because there's a smooth transition, and so often with opaques they look so much different than black and gray that it's hard to weave in and out like that.
Mm-hmm.
But here you can see the difference, right? But it's smooth. The transition is smooth, and
yeah, he made it kind of like it's part of it.
Yeah.
To have that transition, and this is a wicked tattoo.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if this one's still in progress, but I would probably have more color in the hand too, just to make it transition a little bit better. Mm-hmm. But maybe the client didn't want that, and maybe it's not done. I don't think this guy is doing as many cover-ups as Masakrov is, but still a style that can cover when necessary, right?
This is crazy.
Really
like
cool bioorganic horror stuff again.
Yeah.
I love these. I love seeing the artists do stuff like this. Quite often, Rick will send me like one of his tattoos, and so for people who have wondered where Rick takes inspiration from, this is one of the people that he likes a lot. That being said, there are some stylistic differences.
Oh, for sure.
But it's really cool work. I love seeing stuff like this. I would love to see more of this stuff closer. There isn't a whole lot of people doing this style.
But there's not a lot of people in our area that I've seen that are doing this.
Yeah. So all kinds of reds being used here again.
I love the reds.
Yeah.
And the kind of like the sort of cathedral look in the background there is really neat. I'm not quite sure what that shape is, but it's really cool.
You know what I liked about Brandon Herrera's social media too is like so often I'll see like the most demonic, killer, like mean horror imagery, and it's like some soft like R&B or like really modern hip hop playing, like the stuff that the guys listen to at the shop, like, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this vibe?
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's really off-putting. Like it's really off-putting. Whereas with Brandon Herrera's music, it's like pretty heavy metal. Like it's pretty, like there's a lot of like stuff like Cannibal Corpse and stuff like that.
The
where
kind
it's
of
like
stuff that I would want to
and
listen to if I was tattooing this.
Well, I mean, yeah. Look at it. It's fucking neat. Like, even if you don't like that music, that's the vibe.
Be listening to some like cattle decapitation.
I don't know how you could be doing like
hair.
soft. This is not a knock at anyone's preference.
No,
but like,
listen to what you want to listen to.
I don't know how you could be listening to like soft beats doing horrific imagery like this.
I don't know.
Like that doesn't seem to work for me.
Soft beats seems to be the tattoo industry standard right now. Our shop, they're on their R&B
That
right
seems
now
to be
too.
all anyone listens to these days. It's really fucking strange.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. I'm not going to do a whole rant on that. But like stuff like this one here that we're looking at, this looks like
the shine on it is insane.
but like similar vibe to kind of what my sleeve is, but in its own different way. If stuff like this was on the market, and like, so this is where I think young people getting into tattoos now have a big benefit, because like this shit was not done when I was young.
Oh no,
this was not done. Like people be like, oh no, Paul Booth. No, Paul Booth is not doing this. Like, he's doing his own thing, and I have respect for that. But like, he's not doing this. No one is doing this when I'm young. No one is doing this.
I agree. When I was young,
this was not a thing.
Everybody was walking around with like trad roses.
Yeah. And if it was a thing, it was so niche that no one knew it existed.
Marvin the Martian.
It's the same thing as you with the Marvin the Martian again.
The guys with their last name and like script across their back.
It's the same thing as like I said the same thing about Trash Polka when I seen it. Like I would have had a Trash Polka bodysuit. I would have had a bioorganic bodysuit.
Yeah, if it was like available in the area
that
we're
was
in.
not a thing. You know, I'm not trying to go all boomer here, but
and it's not the same as like Blackout. Like Blackout's really accessible. Everybody could do it. I think this is like so stylized.
I don't necessarily think that I like this more than what I can do now. I'm just saying that my first bodysuit probably would have been done more like this if this was on the table.
Is this? Oh, this is cool.
Well, he does a lot of anime subject matter too.
Is this Alucard?
I don't know if it is. I know I've seen him do some Tokyo Ghoul and different things like that.
Oh, yeah, but how could you not do Tokyo Ghoul? Nah, man.
But I also really think like the different dimensions and proportions of this work are really interesting. Like
he picks some really nice angles. Like we're almost looking up this nose.
This has got to be a thing where you go, and I have it on good information that like, for example, Masakrov's like cover-ups, for the most part, you have to give at least some amount of creative freedom. But for this, like, I bet you just say, I want a face on my back of some kind.
I don't know.
You know
I feel like you just go to this guy and you say, I want a tattoo. And he's like, he looks at you and he goes, yes.
Well, you have. I think there's got to be some kind of an idea, but you get no say in how it's.
I don't know. Some people I don't. I bet you some of these there was no idea and he just did it. I don't think someone came and said I want a face on my back. I think he said I want to do a face on your back.
This one in particular would have to be pretty well empty canvas. Mm-hmm. Like, because like it took part of the sleeve out too, right?
Yeah, but I would go to this guy and I'd be like, have fun. Here's my back. Have fun. I don't care what I get.
I mean, the thing is if to work in this scale and get this image, like you have no other tattoos going in.
Yeah.
Right? That's the only way around it. Because like there's too much negative space in the core of this for it to be a cover-up.
I mean, unless the cover-up was in that mouth.
I don't think so. No, I think this is completely...
I know.
So what I'm getting at, though, is like in order to get this, you have to get it from the start, for the most part.
Yeah.
Like I would have to be a tattoo virgin when I went to this guy.
Oh yeah.
So it's a thing of like the youth of today coming up in the tattoo world have no idea how fortunate they are to have
social media.
Not just social media, because like this stuff wasn't at the level that it's at when we were growing up.
Oh, that's like definitely one thing.
The art form wasn't where it is.
Now we can find it too. I mean, if this existed and it didn't, but if it did in any form, even in its primitive form, we wouldn't have known about it.
Well,
because where would it? Someone's posting it on their MySpace?
But like the art form wasn't at this level then.
Definitely not.
And the inks weren't at this level either.
But there was a primitive version of this
at the time. But what I'm saying is that people don't understand how fortunate they are to have had this building on top of the shoulders of giants kind of thing, where it's like the only way you get to a place where you can execute something like this is by learning along the way, right? Like the whole culture evolves and then you get to this. And when I see things like this being done these days and this use of color and contrast and scale, it just says to me like, the industry isn't where it will be even in 20 years. Like, who knows how big, bold, and killer we can make things look. Like, this was not on the table in the year 2000. I've never seen anything like this.
I agree with that. Not like this.
So, this isn't me saying I'm jealous, but it's just one of those, I feel like we can only get here today. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Like, I'm excited to see where we go in the future.
Yeah. So, this back piece is fucking... amazing, by the way. But I love all of this. Like you could see elements of this in my suit, but obviously it's taken a different path, right? Mm-hmm. But again, this is all one piece. This is one design.
Yeah, this is a person who saw this work and said, I'm going to get a tattoo by them. and they are 18, they have no tattoos, and they're like, I'm gonna
Well,
fly
it could
out
be
to
much
wherever
older.
this guy is, whatever, right?
Like, you could be planning this for your whole life, but like,
saving up for the appointment and flying out to wherever this guy is.
I'm not
and getting
saying
your
I'm
bodysuit.
impulsive, but like, I don't think that that's the kind of tattoo that I would do, because like, I enjoy being tattooed so much. I don't just enjoy the image of it. And like, this to me is like, this is all about the aesthetic, right? Like, you went for this aesthetic, and that's the only way you can get this. Like, if you're a guy like me that, you know, I like to go in and get tattooed every week, I don't feel like you end up with this result.
No.
You know,
you end up with something different.
You end up with something different, because like, this is not that thing. This is, I traveled across the world to this specific artist
to get this thing
5-6 times. You know what I mean? And that's a very different client. Like, there are people who come here, they travel here for things, but like, that's a different lifestyle. Like, my life was never set up to travel. Like, having a kid young, you're not doing that.
No.
So, but anyway, I have a lot of respect for the color application in this too. Like, a lot of times you'll see artists that do this this style of work, they'll stay with the same sort of colors.
I know he's got some real, like, the blues and the pinks and the purples in this one are crazy.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of this, like the guys that do this sort of style, this bioorganic, they stay away from blues for whatever reason.
Yeah, they hit lots of reds and greens.
Yeah, lots of reds and greens, and I don't quite understand that, because I think that blues can be incredibly striking too. I remember I suggested that Alex Rose do blue in one of his tattoos, and he was like, "Oh, I hate blue."
His like red lady faces that he was doing, the like soft gray shade with the bright red.
And the entire time he was here, it's the only thing he like turned his nose at. Like, he would have been fine to do walk-in tattoos, but to put blue in a tattoo was the line. Like, there's no way I'm using blue. Fuck blue. It's like, what's wrong with blue?
I don't know. Is there something up with blue ink that we're missing?
No, I don't know. The blue looks great.
Yeah,
here.
I love the blue. And
I think this is Lich King from World of Warcraft.
Oh yeah, the texture in all of these is insane.
Well, it's the same idea as the reds, right? You're using light and darker reds, and here you're using light and darker blues, and you got these nice white highlights at the center that literally look like they're glowing.
Yeah,
right.
His ability to create that glow is
and also
really
when you understand the history of of tattoo ink and how light blue was actually used as a highlight.
It was used as white, right?
Yeah.
Like white.
So I really don't understand the apprehension and why we don't see more blue in this type of work, because it's such a nice natural light source.
Maybe blue heals poorly. I always hear that red heals poorly. But it's like an urban myth.
That's bullshit from people that artists push forward. Bad artists that can't saturate push forward.
It's an urban myth.
And people with very little experience with tattoos gobble up, and then they spread it out farther.
But I'm wondering if this is a case of something similar.
Oh, it's probably, but
or if it's like, you know how there's ink restrictions in some places that you can't get color ink. Maybe it's easier to access red and green than it is to access blue. Maybe it's heavier chemicals.
Anyone that's doing work like this is restricted like that. And Brandon Herrera is in America, as I believe. Anyway, I'm almost 100% sure on that. But I don't think that when you're doing work this level, you're going to restrict yourself based on what you can get in your area either. I think you find a way to get the ink you want. And if they think for a second that people aren't just going to figure out ways to get ink
to import their colored ink
based on some arbitrary fucking bullshit that's legislated by a government that's just pissy because they can't get a cut of it. If they could make money on it, they'd be selling ink at the fucking gas station.
They sell cigarettes.
Yeah, we're selling people cancer every fucking day, and we're restricting the colors they can use. No, none of that's based on anything. Anyone who thinks that's based on anything is a fucking half-wit. I'm just putting it out there, and don't fucking at me on that one either. That's just the way it is. If you think that a population that's selling people cancer sticks and alcohol, which is literally poison, and they're saying we can't have colored tattoo ink, get the fuck out of here.
I agree.
Get the fuck out of here.
Agree.
Anyway, this dude's got a killer style. I love seeing this scale. Like, I love not just the fact that it's really cool, but done in such a big form. That's what I really like to see.
The commitment is insane.
I also, anyone who's covering things up and doing things like this, they get a nod too, just from the hop.
It's not easy.
Well, it's easier than people think it is, but just the idea that like so many people turn away cover-ups, and then you see a guy like this doing very cool things as cover-ups, then you get a nod from me for sure. And I think that more people need to be open to doing cover-ups, alternative methods. You don't need laser to cover things up. I think laser goes away very soon, to be honest with you. I think there's less and less reasons for it, we're finding. And I think talented tattoo artists can do more or less whatever the fuck they want. It's like Rick's working on that Alien versus Predator sleeve. It's a fucking full cover-up of a dark geometric sleeve. And because he's into the subject matter, he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And you know what? No one doubts that it's going to work either.
No, it's going to work. He's proven it's going to work.
He's just doing it.
I can't wait to see it progress.
But if you had asked him to do a soft, like, floral cover-up, he could have done it, but he would have said no because he doesn't want to do that.
Yeah, because who wants to do that floral shit? Says the floral artist.
So, but anyway, yeah. Really cool work. And if you haven't checked this guy out, go follow him on Instagram.